So so one thing about the rapture, first off, there's two instances that say we don't know. And people use one instance to say, "Oh, I know how to reword that to say we do know." But the second you can't use that. You actually can't use it on the second one. So anyway, so all these people are like, "Yeah, the year, this, that," or and then when I see that, and first in the like I wanted to like I don't know, like what I want to get at right now is I don't know what I felt like there might have been something before, but because like if you say something, it's going to happen. If you say something, it's going to happen. I don't know, not necessarily, but kind of necessarily. Like I told people I'm going to die. Am I going to die? I said I might die. Am I going to die? That's what James did. So I'm watching this movie. James is like, "I'll die for you," or he's like, "I want your cup," and Jesus is like, "Oh, you want my cup? That means you're going to die." "Oh, you want my cup? Okay, okay, have my cup." And it's like, honestly, what did Jesus want? James is like, "I want your cup," and Jesus is like, "I don't think you're ready." He's like, "I'm ready," and Jesus is like, "Okay." I forget if that's exactly more or less, but so I'm watching this movie and James dies, head cut off. I start bawling. I just the spirit, like I don't know. I feel like it's whatever. I start bawling and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like it's God. I don't know. I was like, something wants me to start crying, and I'm like, yes, and I start crying, and I do feel sad, and I'm like, I don't, and then some told me it's like I'm not, but but then I start wondering, why am I crying? Like it's like it's almost like but anyways, I'm starting to, but then and I'm like, which James is this? And then I start wondering, and I'm like, they're like, this is and it was the James who didn't write James. And it was the James that I just mentioned. Anyways, it was the James I just mentioned, but and like he was the first martyr, and it's like I was crying, and I'm like, this is kind of happy. Like I don't know, why am I so sad? That's like, and it wasn't until later, and then I'm like, I don't know, and then I'm like, I don't know. There's some other stuff, and but anyways, I'm like, oh, the devil starts putting a thought in my mind. It's like, what if that was, the James got his head cut off because he actually blasphemed God. The Bible's wrong. He blasphemed God. He actually thought that works save you, and he blasphemed God, and that's. And I'm like, at first, I'm like, but then, and like, like that kind of proves my point, but then I'm like, wait a minute. No, first off, James didn't say that. First off, he literally didn't say that. I know for a fact. And it wasn't even the first martyr. It wasn't even the first martyr. Anyways, I forget. Anyways, I forget why why I decided I cried. I don't know. And it was, but ultimately, yeah, someone's dying. I'm like, I feel something like something inside me is crying. Like something that's not me. That is not me. Something inside me literally is like crying as James is getting his head cut off. And I'm like, yeah, he's getting his head cut off. Yeah, I'm here. Like, be sad when they're sad. Don't be. That's what the Bible says. Like, don't be happy when someone's sad. I'm like, yeah. He's sad. I'm like, yeah, I'm sad. I'm crying with you. Like, this is sad. I don't know why. Like, yeah, death, sad, yes. Up, but like I'm at this, and but then later on, it actually specifies that another James dies, and once again, I'm crying because this actually is that James, and anyways, and then he gets to Paul, or I don't. I want to say something about James, but I feel like maybe you. I don't know. Then he gets to Paul, and I'm just like at peace. I'm not crying. I'm not over. I'm like I'm just kind of like at kind of peace, you know. And then they give their little spiel. They're like, the fair. Okay, either this is right or extremely wrong, or it's not even true. But I'm watching the movie. The Pharisees, they're trying to imprison Paul this entire time. We got to stop Paul. We got to stop Paul. They imprisoned Paul. Where the fuck did he write the Bible? They're like, anyways, I feel like that was not the way to go. Sorry, because what I want to get at, I wasn't supposed to say that part. Can we? I was trying to title my video First thing that came to my head, proof I'm crazy. But if, I was just joking. But if I say, proof I'm crazy, it's like, if I had titled the video that, it's like, what if now I'm actually going to go crazy?